Live and learn. Mistakes. Hey, on this entire boat, I've done mistakes and then I've had to restart over. Live and learn with a variety of different products. Gel coat. Gel coat doesn't like many different products. And it's my fault. Let me show you what I did. This is where the davits were. This is where the davits were here. Let's see, there was a shower here. Shore power here. Can't remember what's here. But what I did do is I put down epoxy fairing over here, and I do want to gel coat over this. It's my bad, so tomorrow I'll have to sand off all the epoxy fairing. What I should do, and what I am doing, is adding polyester fairing so the gel coat will go over the polyester fairing. Now there is a way you can add gel coat over the epoxy fairing using some variety of different cleaners. It's a process, and I just don't want to do the process. It's gonna be faster for me just to get rid of all this epoxy fairing and then put in some polyester fairing. What I also did here on these holes, I laid in some 80 ml Divinycell foam. I did that because I had a whole sheet of foam down there. But what I did was lay in some foam. I'm going to polyester fair over top of these, and then I'll gel coat over them and be done. But that's a live and learn. It's my bad. Won't do it again. Alright? I'll talk to you later, friends. Bye. Friends, sometimes I get in that zone where I just want to get the work done, and I forget about filming. So I took a moment, a little bit of water break. Let's show you what we got. So down here at the bottom, she's pretty much sanded and faired. I'm waiting for some glass. I bought a whole roll of 1708. I'm going to do 2 layers of 1708 on the bottom. And I'm using vinyl ester because I use epoxy for my fairing. I'll use vinyl ester for my 1708. This will give me good water barrier and a good bottom. But while I'm waiting on product, let's show you what we got here. Working with the gel coat up top. What we did here, use a longboard, can't really see on camera, filled in some divots. You'll see now I need to sand these away, sand this section away. I've faired this in with polyester fairing. And what I'll do is use the longboard and I'll sand over this here with the longboard. Key thing here when working with gel coat and epoxy, they don't get along. So when you use especially polyester and epoxy, they don't get along at all. So you have to make sure you separate the two here. Because I am using polyester fairing, the gel coat will go right over the polyester fairing. Cannot use epoxy fairing and try to gel coat over top of it. Now, you fact checkers will. You can apply gel coat over the epoxy, but you have to clean that epoxy very well. Epoxy kind of leaves a little bit of oil residue. Clean it, wash it, acetone it. You can in a pinch, but since I'm next to a supply store, and I use Total Boat actually, Total Boat polyester, makes life a lot easier. You'll see down here, I got some places that I need to sand today using the fancy longboard. Let's take a look at the other side. What I did do is I put some more polyester fairing on these sections here and down the boat. What I did, I mixed up too much polyester fairing. I shouldn't have done that. And I should have tossed most of it away. But mindset, you have it, you want to use it before it sets up. And so what happens, I end up with too big of a glob, a hump here. That's because when I added the fairing on there, I added too much. My fault. But the trick that I use, just regular old black spray paint, whatever you want, and just kind of spray it over it. So now what's going to happen when I take a longboard, I'll be able to see my highs and my lows. And I'll probably do it a couple more times, but this will give me my highs and lows, and I'll be able to fair this out much easier with a longboard. It's my fault for doing that. I would show you sections that I've actually done here, but you can't see it really on camera, but it turned out really nicely. So that's what I get for trying to rush. Made a mistake in a couple ones, not all of them, just a couple of ones that had too much blob. So that's what we're doing today. Well, I was going to show you also when I added the blob here, I came down too far into the epoxy. What's interesting is a polyester on top of epoxy, it actually turns this epoxy kind of wet. So I had to shave off a good line of the polyester, and this is okay because my bootstrap is going to go here because I raised my water line a little bit, so my bootstrap will come here. So I'll just fair this off a little bit with some epoxy, put some tape on here. Again, polyester and fairing. Polyester and epoxy, they don't get along. No, no, no. What is one of the worst things you can have on a boat? Or damage, I'd say. For me, it's not a chip. It's not a blister. It's not indentation or a cut or anything. My worst pet peeve on this boat, and I don't think the camera's gonna show it, spider crack. This whole section all the way down here, spider crack, spider crack, spider crack, spider crack. The problem is with spider cracks is that you just can't paint over them. You have to grind them all down and cross your fingers and hope the spider crack doesn't go into the glass. That's even more of a pain in the neck. This particular boat, not sure what happened, but I got spider crack all the way up top there, comes all the way down here, and it comes all the way down here. That means the proper way to do this thing would be to sand out all of the spider cracks. That also means that if you sand out all the spider cracks, especially right here, look at that nice contour. What a pain, because if I sand the spider cracks out, I'm gonna have to fair in that whole hump. I don't mean people say, well, why don't you just paint over it and be done with it? Can't do that. There's been so much work to this boat, might as well do it correctly. So that means more sanding and more fairing. What a pain in the neck. This old girl has been fighting me every step of the way, but I've made a lot of progress, and this old girl is going to be better than almost brand new. So spider cracks, be gone. Luckily on this boat, this is the only section I have spider cracks anywhere. My guess is somebody hit something on this side, and that's where the spider cracks came into play. No spider cracks up top, no spider cracks around the stanchions or the rigging, so that is a plus. Alright, I'm done talking. Now I'm gonna go sand. I'm out. Bye. It's a